Okay, hi everybody in BJD Addict YouTube land. It's me again, Doodle Penguin, and Sony. We are here to do video prompt number 2. Sorry, got them all written down. What are some of your hobby fears? Are you afraid someone will take your doll? Are you afraid people will make fun of you for taking your doll into public? Are you afraid you might order your doll online and absolutely hate it? Are you afraid you might damage your doll? Are you afraid to restrain your doll? No, I'm not afraid to restrain my dolls. I tie them up all the time because that is the only way I get them to go anywhere. But when it comes to taking them outside, I don't drive. I actually take the bus everywhere. And I live in Las Vegas, so it's like you get really interesting people sometimes on the bus. So originally I was carrying Sony since she's like my very first BJD. I was taking her everywhere in her Let's box, in the blue box that she arrived in. I was taking her everywhere just in that box. And when you're on the bus for like an hour and then you gotta walk 20 minutes and you get on another bus, the box gets heavy. Even though it's like she's kind of weighty, but she's still pretty light. But because the box is this long rectangle, you've got it under one arm, it gets weighty after a while. So then what did I do? Oh, so then I was just taking her, I was just carrying her. And yeah, I got a lot of interesting attention then when I was just carrying her everywhere. And it was either people just staring, whispering, or asking me how old I was, because I'm only 5 foot, so I guess that makes me look younger, I guess. I don't know. I don't think I look younger than I am. I'm 24. I would assume I'm at least in the 20s, just from looking at me. But sure, but why not? I was actually mistaken once for another friend's daughter, so sure. You know, why not? Yeah, I guess I don't like people talking, like not talking, touching. I don't like people touching her. Because, everyone wants to pick her up, wants to touch her. Be like, oh, this is so cute to play with her. No, I don't like people touching her. Like, even when I first got her, I play D&D, so I take her every Sunday to the D&D game. Because I'm totally bad at describing what my characters look like, so I'll dress her up. And, yeah, I don't like people touching her. And like the first times where I was just taking her so everyone can see her, sharing my joy of having my first BJD, forcing them to celebrate with me. They would like to try and poke her, to touch her. I almost stabbed one of them with a fork. The very first day I had her, I took her into the game. I brought cake. I was like, yay, cake for my BJD. It's here. Celebrate with me. You don't have a choice. Here's some cake. Yeah, one of the guys went to like touch her and be like, oh, this is cool. I almost stabbed him with a fork. It did not go well. It did not go well at all. Not at all. So now they know. Now they know not to touch her. Of course, now they make fun of me for bringing her out, and one of the guys keeps swearing that she's staring at him. No matter what you have got a turn, he swears that she's staring at him. I forgot what the rest of them were. So yeah, so now I've made her kind of like the body sleeve that I take her in. And I kind of just, like, I cradle her when I take her. Like, I put her on one arm because, when she bends, like, right to fit perfectly in your one arm when you're carrying her. I've had people mistake her for a baby. That I just had a baby in this drawstring bag in my arm. That was interesting. I've had people mistake her for a baby. And yeah, sometimes, I've got 3 dolls now, and I'm actually trying to save to afford a 4th one. Ordering online is kind of scary, because you see the picture of the doll, and you're like, oh, it's so cute. You like the stock photos, and a lot of pages don't actually show a whole lot of pictures of the doll, so all you've really got to look at is the face, and maybe a general standing shot of the body. So when I got Tony, I was afraid that when I opened up her box, I was absolutely going to hate her, because I had wanted her for so long, like really a really long time, and all I had were stock photos of her. I'd never seen her in anyone else I'd never seen anyone else having her, or I actually didn't know anybody else with BJD, so I had no one else's dolls from the same company, Lutz, to look at to see what their body types were, to see if I would like her. And so when I got her, I sat on my bed for probably like 40 minutes before I could bring myself to open the box, because when I opened it, I was like, oh my god, what if I hate her? I've wanted her for so long, and I guess, you get this image in your mind of what it's going to be, what it's going to be, what it's going to look like, but then you get it, what if it's not? What if once you have her, she's not what you wanted, or what you thought you were getting, or what you expected? And I waited a really long time before I even tried to afford to buy her, because I live alone. So I live alone, and I work pretty much a job where I barely make rent. So it was really hard to save for her. And when I got her, actually, a really good friend of mine, Casey, he actually paid for half of her. He actually paid for half of all my dolls. He paid for half of her for a Christmas present. And then I came up with the other half, and I ordered her, the day before Christmas. And she came on Valentine's Day, so it was like, yay. And I went through a lot of stress because my neighborhood's kind of shady, so I wasn't having her delivered here. Was having her delivered somewhere else, and I didn't sign for her, so she went back to the post office. So I didn't get her until, the day after she had actually arrived. So I was kind of stressful, because I was like, oh my god, don't send her back to Korea. I need her. So when I got her home, I was all, happy that I even just got her, and it took me a long time to open the box, and like I said, I'd wanted her for so long. We're talking probably since, 02, 03. So I wanted her for, 7 years, and just could never hold on to the money long enough to afford her, between, bills and rent, and, my mom, her job's not that great either, so when she needs money, I'm giving her money, and, I enjoy eating, and I have dogs, so it's holding on to the money was, really hard. I'd always get to the halfway point, and then I'd need extra money for something else, so that's where my doll funds just drained into. So I was really afraid that when I got her, I was not going to like her, and that made me so upset, because I was like, oh my god, if I don't like her, I just spent all this money. Oh, what was I going to do? But luckily, she's everything I wanted, everything I thought she would be. Her eyes actually aren't what I originally wanted. These are just the default eyes they sent with her. I originally wanted her to have a darker blue, kind of gray eyes, but they sent her with these sky blue eyes, and they grew on me. They did. I didn't order eyes with her, because I was like, well, what if they send me the eyes I wanted as the default? Because that's a very likely possibility. And I didn't want to just have all these random eyes floating around. But I really started to like these sky blue eyes that she came with, so, that's another difference. Just things like that. Are you afraid you might damage your doll? Yes! All the time! I am always afraid that I'm going to damage her. So much. Even when I started this video, I was putting her in this little rocking chair that I got from Saver so she could sit in my lap, and I tilted her forward, and she hit her face on the computer. So she had this black scratch on her cheek. I'm like, no! Magic block, magic block, magic block, magic block, magic block! Yeah. So, I'm always paranoid and freaked out. I carry magic block like it's mace. It goes everywhere. It goes everywhere with me. It's just a random, always accessory in the purse. This little jewelry Ziploc bag of magic block. It goes everywhere. And I am always afraid that I'm going to dent her too. So that's another thing where I will carry her everywhere, because I'm afraid of dropping her. I'm pretty clumsy, so I'm like, oh my god, what if I fall? I'm afraid of falling with her. All kinds of things like that. It's terrible. I'm so paranoid now all the time. Am I afraid someone will take your doll? Yeah, because I take the bus. I'm afraid people will always try to touch my doll and take my doll. I ride the bus. So I'm always looking out for people. When people sit next to me, I'm like, oh, don't sit next to me. I'm scooting her away from them, like they're going to talk to me or something. So that's another thing. I'm extra paranoid now, all the time. All the time. I don't know if I have anything else to say. Go Sabres. That's all I've got. So I buy all my dolls chairs and like furniture and type things. Savers, the thrift store, the donation thrift store, best place ever. So I get all her furniture, all her chairs and things. It's great. Um, yeah, that's all I have to say now. It is. So onward to the next video. Hopefully this one, my table I'm building to display them on, will be finished, so I can do a nice video for that. And maybe I'll have a better carry case, because that's also what I'm working on, is like a better carry case to transport them in, so I'm not just carrying her on my arm, in my arms. You know, that way she's more weather protected from the desert sun. So yay! Thank you for watching. Bye.